So having looked at the or some higher order schemes for the wave equation in the previous lecture, let us now continue with our discussion of the convection diffusion problems. I have already covered the forward time and central space scheme for solution of convection diffusion problems and the associated issues around that scheme. So in this lecture I will discuss a few other variants, a few other alternatives. The first one is the Brailovskaya method from 1965. This is a two-step method. So it has a predictor step where we predict the value of ui n plus 1, which is n plus 1 bar, using values at time n. So this will be central differencing for the convected term. As you can see, you may recall that the convected term here actually includes both the linearized and the non-linear versions or the non-linear contributions, and depending on the problem we may actually have either C0 or B to be 0. For the momentum equation, definitely B will not be 0, okay, and C can be taken to be 0 if you're solving the momentum equation of the Navier-Stokes. So this plus we'll have a diffusive part which was not there in the wave equation. We'll have r ui plus 1n minus 2 ui n plus ui minus 1 n. Based on the predicted value of ui at n plus 1, we do a correction. So we get to the corrector step, which would be ui n plus 1 equal to ui n minus delta t by 2 delta x. Now this time the flux is computed using values at n plus 1 bar plus r times ui plus 1 n minus 2 ui n plus ui minus 1 n. This scheme has a truncation error which is of order delta t delta x square. If we do the von Neumann stability analysis of the linearized equation, or the linear equation rather, we get the following result. We get that the amplification factor, or the modulus of the amplification factor square, is 1 minus lambda square sine square theta, 1 minus lambda square sine square theta plus 4r 1 minus cosine theta times 1 minus r 1 minus cosine theta 1 plus lambda square sine square theta. And for obvious reasons, for stability, we want this number to be less than equal to 1. Now this itself is actually a very difficult equation to establish stability, because we have two numbers r and lambda in one equation. So what we can do is we can look at the two extreme cases. Let's say we ignore the viscous effects, which would mean that r is, let's say, 0. In that case, you can prove that the following criteria should hold. So what you can see is that when you put r to be 0 here, this whole term vanishes, and so I have put a 0 there corresponding to that number, and then you are only left with this equation. And clearly we'll have lambda square sine square theta times 1 minus lambda square sine square theta to be greater than or equal to 0, and which means lambda square sine square theta is anyway, this number is anyway greater than or equal to 0, so we don't need to worry about this. So what we'll have is that lambda square sine square theta should be less than or equal to 1, which for all theta would mean that lambda has to be less than or equal to 1. So this becomes the stability criteria if we have no viscous effects which is basically the CFL number. If we look at ignoring the convection term, which would mean that we are solving the diffusion equation, so this would mean that lambda is 0, then what we will get is 1 minus 4r 1 minus cosine theta times 1 minus r 1 minus cosine theta would be less than or equal to 1, and then you can prove from this equation that the resultant should be r is less than or equal to 1 by 2, which is also expected from our earlier stability analysis of the diffusion equation. So clearly this scheme has two, or it follows the same criteria that we have been deriving throughout, but since we have in deriving these two aspects, in deriving these two conditions, we have ignored the other transport mechanism. What we can do is we can say that the scheme, or the stability criteria for the scheme, is one which gives us the minimum delta t corresponding to the two alternatives. Recall that we had said that A was df du, which comes out to be c plus bu. So delta t could be thought of as the minimum or less than or equal to the minimum of the conditions given by delta x square by 2 nu or delta x by modulus of A. So how did we get this? If you look at this one, this is actually from r less than or equal to 1 by 2, because recall that r is nu delta t by delta x square, so that gives us this number, and then the second one comes from the CFL number, lambda less than or equal to 1, so this will be, let's say, A times delta t by delta x, and A is the modulus, so that is what we get in terms of stability for this scheme. A rather attractive feature of this scheme is that the viscous term in both the corrector and predictor steps actually remains the same. So if you notice this term is actually the same in both the predictor and corrector steps, and so it needs to be computed only once per time step, so that actually can save us a little bit of computational time when we are doing this predictor corrector operation. The next scheme that I want to discuss is the Allen-Cheng method, and this has a truncation error of delta t delta x square as well, but it is a modification of the Brailovskaya scheme, and it eliminates stability restrictions on R. So how does it do this? So it has again two steps. The predictor step is ui n plus 1 is ui n minus delta t by 2 delta x fi plus 1 n minus fi minus 1 n plus r times ui plus 1 n minus 2 ui n plus 1 bar plus ui minus 1 n. So notice that this scheme, the predictor step, is different from the Brailovskaya method by a very small modification, that the velocity here is actually in terms of this intermediate step, or you can say a temporary step. So this will actually go to the left hand side to give you the velocity at that given intermediate step. So see, if you just want to refresh it again, so you may notice the predictor step has these terms are the same. This is the only modification in the Allen-Cheng scheme, that this is at n plus 1, and so we will take it to the left hand side. So this is what the predictor step looks like. Very similar to the predictor step, the corrector step also does the same modification. We now write ui n plus 1 to be ui n minus delta t by 2 delta x fi plus 1 n plus 1 minus fi minus 1 n plus 1, which is bar, plus r times ui plus 1, now at n plus 1 bar, because this is already computed from the predictor step, minus 2 ui n plus 1 plus ui minus 1 n plus 1 bar. And this is not a typo here, this is essentially the unknown, which will again go to the left hand side, and so we have a new value for ui at n plus 1. So this unconventional differencing is what eliminates or leads to the elimination of the stability restriction on R. So with this scheme, now the only stability criterion that remains is that lambda should be less than or equal to 1. And this is of course for the linear Burger's equation. So now a much larger time step can be used when nu is large. Notice that R, which we wrote as nu delta t by delta x square, so this has no stability criterion, and so technically delta t in the Brailovskaya method actually had to be less than or equal to delta x square by 2 nu, but this is no longer required here. The viscosity is large, a much larger delta t can be used, because what we are trying to do is that this is the only condition which is independent of viscosity. So we get freed from this condition, because if nu is large, this number will be small, because of which delta t will have to be smaller. But now since this is no longer valid, if nu is large, I need not worry about a small delta t. The last one that I will discuss in this segment is the MacCormack method. And again, as we did in the wave equation, the MacCormack step method will also have two steps, the predictor step and the corrector step. The predictor is basically ui n plus 1 bar is ui n minus delta t by delta x, fi plus 1 n minus fi n plus r ui plus 1 n minus 2 ui n plus ui minus 1 n. But now the corrector step uses this predicted value of velocity to update the estimate. So this becomes half, and please recall this or verify this with the MacCormack scheme that we just did in the last lecture, in the previous lecture. So this becomes minus delta t by delta x f I n plus 1 minus fi minus 1 n plus 1, of course bar in both quantities, plus r times ui plus 1 n plus 1 bar minus 2 ui n plus 1 bar plus ui minus 1 n plus 1 bar. So this, I hope this looks similar to the MacCormack that we have covered, and this has a truncation error of order delta t square delta x square. So this version actually uses a forward differencing in the predictor step and a backward differencing in the corrector step. So let's note this down. This is an important difference. So it is using forward differencing in the predictor step and a backward differencing in the corrector step. So this is a key feature that when you're implementing you have to take care of. This does not have any straightforward stability criteria. However, Tannehill has given an empirical formula for stability, and the formula basically dictates the maximum delta t that can be or that should be taken. So delta t is given as something which is less than delta x square by mod a delta x plus 2 nu, and this is sort of a guiding principle for choosing the delta t with the MacCormack scheme. So in the next lecture I will start a new way of solving the momentum equation, or a different way of solving the momentum equation, which will be using the vorticity stream function approach, and we will use that method to solve a couple of problems from fluid mechanics.